and welcome back to the Shutter Sport Podcast. I'm Katie Leboutillier, joined by Eli Pearl, Stirling, and Max Purdon. And today we've got an MLB Playoff Preview episode for you, where we will break down the wildcard matchups, division leaders, and our World Series frontrunners.
From the little leagues
to the pros.
This is your weekly sports show.
Welcome to the Shutter Sports Podcast.
Take a seat at the table as we discuss.
So yesterday was game 162 of the season, and the playoff picture was fully decided. So as it stands after the regular season, this is the playoff picture. Starting in the AL, the 6-seed Detroit Tigers and the 3-seed Cleveland Guardians will play in a 3-game wildcard series, and the winner will face off against the 2-seed Seattle Mariners. Any noise from Max on that?
I've turned a new leaf. I'm a real professional now, so I won't make any loud noises.
Perfect. Okay, on the other side of the AL, it's an AL East matchup, or an all AL East matchup. We've got the 5-seed Boston Red Sox, who will play the 4-seed New York Yankees, and the winner will face off against the 1-seed Toronto Blue Jays. Moving over to the National League, we've got the 6-seed Cincinnati Reds, and they will play the 3-seed Los Angeles Dodgers, and the winner of that will play the 2-seed Philadelphia Phillies. And then finally, we've got the 5-seed San Diego Padres, who will play the 4-seed Chicago Cubs in the wild card, and the winner will face a powerhouse in the 1-seed Milwaukee Brewers. So to start this discussion off with the picture set, let's start by breaking down the wild card matchups a little more. Eli, why don't you start us off with the Tigers Guardians?
Of course, you picked the one I have the least notes on.
Oops.
Obviously, Scooble powerhouse for the Tigers. I think they pretty much have game one. That being said, the Tigers have gone into this World Series matchup on a weaker note, and the Guardians probably one of the luckiest teams in baseball right now. Negative run differential, but just seem to keep winning, and got themselves into the spot they are now. They won 8 of 13 and 25 against the Guardians. I think that's something big to say. But are they going to go? I don't know. I simply don't know who their 3-man rotation fully will be. It looks like it could be all right-handers, which is interesting to see. That's something you don't exactly see too often in today's MLB. But I think overall, I think the Guardians are lucky. I think they've been playing their best right now. I don't think the Tigers have been playing particularly amazing. I think the Guardians are going to take this 1-3.
Yeah, interesting note, especially too, because they finished the season playing each other basically, which is, you don't always see heading right into the playoffs, so it'll be a bit of a recount of what just happened. But Cam, any thoughts on that series?
Well, I also think Guardians lost Class A for a big chunk of the season, so we didn't see their complete team during their rough stretch in the start of the season. And I think that will be tough to conquer if you're the Detroit Tigers with arguably the most dominant closer we've seen in the past couple of years. And I don't know, that's a big hill to jump over. And it's as Eli said, the Guardians are playing their best ball right now that they've played all season. So if there was a worse time for this Tigers team to go up against this Guardians team, it would be right now.
Did I miss something? Is Class A back?
I don't think he's on their playoff roster.
I think he's done. I think his career's over. Okay, I have a question for you guys. Let's say you are the Guardians and you have like a game one starter earmarked, like a guy who you think is your best starter. Do you hold them until game 2, like assuming that you're going to lose the Scooble matchup?
I think so. I think I read somewhere that it's set to be Williams, followed by Tanner Bibby, and I don't know even how to say his name, Slade. I'll use his first name. 3 like very no-name starters. I don't think starting pitching is the name of the game for the Guardians.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of a moot point because like they don't really have a standout number one guy. But I'm just saying, like the point is like when you're facing a guy like Scooble, you basically just have to concede that first game, and it's going to be down to if the Guardians can take games 2 and 3. I think a 1-game lead for Detroit, like just because I think their roster is better, will be enough for them to win this series. So I've got Detroit going on.
Yeah. Again, I can see the series going either way. I think a key note is Kerry Carpenter almost plays exclusively against righties. Guardians are set to most likely throw 3 righties, and he's hit 23 of his 26 homers against right-handed pitchers. So I think Kerry Carpenter is going to be a key bat this series for the Tigers.
And I think Tanner Bibby, I believe, is quote unquote their ace right now. He led the team in innings pitched. He led the team in wins this season. So I think lining him up for Game 2 is smart. Gavin Williams still strong lined up for Game 1, but and Logan Allen's still there as well, who put up a decent season. So he could be an argument for Game 3, but I think Bibby lining up in Game 2 to not go against Skubal is a good move.
Yeah, just like looking at like the Fangraphs for their starting pitching, it's weak. Like there's nobody.
There's nobody of note.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you've got Gavin Williams has like a 3.08 ERA, but it seems like it's like pure luck. Like his xFIP's way higher, his FIP's way higher. So
Well, I think now is a good time to move on to probably one of the best wild card series that we're going to see in the Boston Red Sox versus the New York Yankees.
Yeah, are you hosting this now? No, yeah, I agree. I was going to send that one to Cam to start, but Eli, if you have any pressing thoughts on that wild card series, I think it will be. I mean, it's what baseball wants, that rivalry in a wild card series. So
I think either way, these teams are going to come out depleted from this series, and I think that's going to show in the ALDS. But I'll let Cam start out.
I'm gonna say what everybody's thinking. Like the New York Yankees are in my opinion, a far better team, but those errors have to stop in this 3-game series. The Boston Red Sox could easily take advantage of that, and with a arm like Crochet, who has been killing it, and in my opinion, second behind Skubal for the Cy Young in the AL, I think the Yankees have to be careful in that Game 1 to not go down through errors and a battle with Crochet, but it's going to be it's a tough series for both teams.
Yeah, two of the best left-handed pitchers in the American League facing off against each other. I think a key thing is the Red Sox have gone 9-4 versus the Yankees this year. Crochet himself has 4 wins against the Yankees this year, and he's done a great job handling Aaron Judge, striking him out 11 times. He has given up 2 home runs to Aaron Judge, but again, you faced him in 4 starts. That's going to happen. It's a lefty-righty matchup. I think Aroldis Chapman is also a huge piece for this Red Sox team. You go into the 9th inning with a lead, and I don't see the Yankees having a chance coming back, especially since Fangraphs has them as the least clutch team in baseball this season. I think it's going to be a 3-game series no matter what. I could see it going either way, but I'd love to see the Red Sox move on.
I got to disagree with you guys. I think this is Yankees in 2 in my eyes. I mean, I think a lot of these Red Sox hitters, like, they need tennis rackets if they want to keep up with the Yankees here. I mean, is that offensive? I don't think that's offensive. The logical continuation would be offensive, but nobody's going to say that to me, I don't think. Yeah, I just think like the position players for the Yankees are a lot better. And I don't think the difference with the starting pitching is that big. Like I think Max Fried can, like, for the most part, stand up with Garrett Crochet in that first game. And like just the Yankees hitting's too good. Like obviously you got Judge, who is like the second best player in the American League, and then you got Bellinger, you got Jazz, and you even got a guy like Ben Rice who's come into his own this season. So I can't see this being a very close series. To be honest with you guys, but it would be nice for the other teams in the American League if the Yankees would bow out this early.
I kind of agree. The streaky bat. There's some streaky bats in the Boston Red Sox roster. Nobody over 25 home runs this year. Nobody over, at least who's played 100 games over 470 slugging. So when Trevor Story is leading your team in batting average, home runs, and RBIs in like what was a comeback year, but Trevor Story has had some rough runs in the last 3 or 4 years. It's an iffy season to say, iffy series to say the least. If you're the Boston Red Sox going against one of the most powerful hitting teams in all of the MLB.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Yankees historically have been good in the playoffs, but they've also been historically bad against the AL East, and I think this, especially compared to last season, will be a much rougher, tougher road to making it to the championship series because they have to beat out someone, like you said. They've been bad against the Red Sox this year, and they also have a losing series against the Jays. So I think if they're going to make it to the championship series, it's going to be a much harder road than it has been in the past. And I just think somehow I think the Red Sox are a better playoff-built team this year, and I think they just kind of, like you were saying with the clutch hits, they have the opportunity to just kind of steal this series.
Oh, no, I do think the Yankees are the better team, but I do see it going 3 games. and no matter what, having to go through your 3 best starters, your bullpen, I think that's going to cause issues for these teams going into the ALDS. And I do think that series will be getting pushed later and later because of these setbacks they'll have against each other.
Yeah, so that one's a toss-up. Definitely going to be the best series, I think. I think we all think it'll be the closest. But moving on to one that, Max, you think won't be that close, the Dodgers and the Reds.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't feel like I don't have to spend that much time. Like, the Dodgers are, the best team in the NL. Over the totality of the season, obviously they didn't come out on top of the NL, but I think when it comes down to it, like, they're just going to crush these poor Reds. Like,
The Reds wouldn't have made the playoffs if it wasn't for the Mets' collapse. So
yeah.
I would like to point out that was an insane prediction by Eli Pearl. January 1st said the Mets were going to miss the playoffs. It happened, people.
Yeah, we can move on from that one, though. I do think the Dodgers will take this one pretty handedly.
Time out. One more. I genuinely think they could throw Clayton Kershaw on short rest and he'd still somehow beat the Cincinnati Reds team despite not being on their wild card roster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby.
And since you put that so eloquently, we will move on to Eli with the Cubs-Padres really quick.
Again, I think it's going to be another boring series. The Cubs they were one of the best teams in baseball for a chunk of the year. And then PCA fell off the face of the earth. Kyle Tucker's been injured, but is coming back. I think it's cool that it's Imanga's first postseason. That being said, there's a lot of pressure in this wild card series, and throwing a guy who hasn't thrown in a big game like this will be interesting. The Padres are only 19th in OPS against left-handed pitchers and 18th against right-handed. Like, they're a very mediocre team. That being said, I think they have the better pitching staff. They have Mason Miller coming out of their bullpen.
that bullpen in San Diego is nasty.
We also don't know who the Cubs are even throwing the first game yet.
Yeah, I don't know if they do.
For me, I was like, I thought this looked like pretty close, and then I really wanted to know, like, what do these Padres pitchers have in them? What's in their DNA? So I looked at where Nick Pavetta's from, and now I'm all in on the Padres. Padres in 2.
I'm going to go against the curve here and say I want the Cubs to win. I don't know if realistically they will, but I think they just have a little bit of that postseason magic, and I'm looking forward to watching that series. As much as you guys think it might be boring, I'm rooting for the Cubs.
They do have a very interesting catcher in Reese McGuire.
Why is that? Could you dive into that in great detail?
I think our good friend Callum could better.
I
He's
don't
been
think
there.
anyone who listens is familiar, so... Okay, with that lovely note, thank you. We will move on to the divisional series, just a little look ahead. Just kind of some general questions to keep in mind and some prompts here. Who do we think each divisional team would prefer to face out of that wild card series? And which kind of wild card team do you think could maybe even make a run and win their divisional series?
I feel like the Dodgers could maybe win their divisional series.
I was going to say I think the Dodgers are the only wild card team in the NL that have a chance at all making it to the championship series.
Yeah, I think, like, if New York comes out of that series, I think they'd have a chance against Toronto. I think Boston less so, but on the other side, I think that series between Detroit and Cleveland is just who gets to get crushed by the Mariners.
Why do
Yeah.
you say that?
Why do I say that? Just my objective analysis of the situation, looking at all the stats and etc.
Well, looking at it a few weeks ago, back to the National League, I thought the Phillies were going to be one of the scariest teams coming into the postseason. They were hot. Their pitchers were playing well. They were all playing well. And then injury, and they've sort of slowed down towards the end of the year. So I think Dodgers-Phillies will... We're going to just count the Reds out. I can count the Reds out confidently. I think Dodgers-Phillies is going to be an incredible divisional series. Who comes out on top, I don't know. I think right now the Dodgers are the better team. I think they have the hotter pitching. But you can't count out those Phillies who seem over the past few years to be one of the best teams in baseball consistently.
I actually wouldn't be shocked if the San Diego Padres gave Milwaukee a run for their money, because we know that the Milwaukee Brewers are a very balanced team all throughout, but the Padres made that big move at the deadline to improve their bullpen, which was arguably one of the only weak spots on their roster. They have flashy players on offense. They have a solid rotation. I think if Milwaukee, because they are a lot like the Blue Jays where all of their players hit at the right time and are very well-rounded, and if they have a slouch of a game or two, I think the Padres could take advantage.
Yeah, you don't. The one thing about the Brewers, the one thing you could take away from them is that there's no real like game-breaking talent there. Like their best player tops out 4.4 wins above replacement on Fangraphs. Like you compare that to a team like the Mariners or the Yankees, like that's half, right?
Yeah. And now you're comparing them to the two AL MVP candidates, one who's
But I'm also
had a 60 home run year and the other who lead and a ton of RBIs and the other who leads in every hitting category imaginable.
But I'm also comparing like one of the NL favorites to two of the three like AL favorites when you just looking purely at the top end of their talent.
The Brewers also play in a pretty poor division. This is coming from a Cardinals fan. I think the Cubs slowed down a lot. The Reds aren't a great team. The Pirates weren't a great team. I think the Brewers got to play a lot of games against easier baseball clubs, and I think that inflated their numbers a little bit. Now, yes, they are hot. Yes, they are a well-built team, but I don't see them better than the Phillies or the Dodgers.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
One divisional series we kind of didn't touch, surprisingly, was the Jays. I know Max said he thinks the Yankees could take that one if they make it, but not the Red Sox. But any other thoughts on that series?
I think either the Yankees or Red Sox could take the Jays.
I think the Blue Jays are in the exact same boat as I explained the Brewers. If they have a slouch of a game or two, I think the incredible power from the bats of the New York Yankees could take them down in a sweep, maybe. Like, the Jays really have to hit their mark in the first two games and get momentum on the New York Yankees, or else they it would be hard for them to come back in a series.
Now, this week off is huge. We'll see most likely the return of Bo Bichette, Chris Bassett, two guys that were key pieces to this Jays team that have been injured over the last couple of weeks. The Yankees and the Red Sox, I think, are going 3 games, as I said. I do think that puts a toll on your body. They aren't going to be able to throw their best starters in game 1, and I think if the Jays want to win that series, they definitely have to take advantage of that early at home. That being said, I think Fried and Rodon are better than anything the Jays have to throw.
Who do you think the Jays' rotation is going to start off with in the ALDS against if the Yankees make it?
It's got to be Gausman,
I
right?
think it's got to be Gausman.
Callum's good friend.
Bieber probably is the one, too.
And then Bassett.
Like, if you're up 2-0, do you throw Savage in there?
I think Savage is going to come out of the bullpen and be like Stroman and Aaron Sanchez were 10 years ago. Those were key guys, young guys coming out of the bullpen in tough moments, and Savage has clearly shown that he can perform in tough moments in a must-win game, having 5 Ks, no earned runs, 5 hits. But I think he's a guy you have to sort of rely on out of the bullpen. Unfortunately, a lot of their starters do seem like they've slowed down in the wrong time of the year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Savage is like a perfect guy that you bring out of the pen. He doesn't have the experience. I don't think that you can rely on him at this stage. But out of the pen, he can just throw 100% max effort, and I think he's obviously a really high-end strikeout guy. So,
a lot of the Jays are kind of built like that. They don't have that experience in the postseason, but sometimes that works for them. They're just so naive. They don't know the pressure they're supposed to be feeling in the postseason, and they can just keep riding this energy that they've had all season. I do agree that they have to have a clean series and a clean beginning to the series, especially because their downfall in the playoffs in these past years has been just collapsing. And I think if they can manage that collapse, they'll have a good series and give whoever they play a run for their money.
Yeah, I think you start off with pure experience with Gausman, Bieber, and Scherzer.
Yeah,
I think that'll set the series off right against a division rival who you want momentum on and not get behind early. So I like Savage out of the bullpen too.
And the hope is that coming out of that wild card series, the Yankees can't throw like a Fried at you game 1, and hopefully you can grab a pretty big advantage just with the starting pitching in game 1 of the DS.
The two pieces there is the tough conversation of is Scherzer going to start or come out of the bullpen. I do think he sort of holds a slight grip over Schneider's hand. I think he's a convincing, strong presence, and I don't know if they're going to make the right decision there per se. And then the other piece with Savage is him coming out of the bullpen. going from a normal arm slot to like the highest straight over the top arm slot currently in Major League Baseball, that's tough for a hitter to see. So I do think him coming out for 2-3 innings could be a big piece to this Jays team.
It's almost like the change between a regular starter and like a submariner. Like it's so tough for hitters when you're used to facing a starting pitcher with a normal angle to go to, such an extreme out of the pen.
Yeah, with that we've talked about and seen a lot of strong teams who have gotten the bye through the wild card. We think maybe the Dodgers would be the only team that can kind of bypass that. But who are your early World Series winners predictions?
I'm going to interrupt Max here, and I like the Seattle Mariners. Who's currently injured but might be coming back. I think they had quite possibly one of the best trade deadlines, picking up Eugenio Suarez and Naylor, both who have had incredible seasons. That being said, Suarez did a lot of his work towards the beginning of the season, but that is a big bat you have to face in key moments, and will have seen Cal Raleigh. I think they have a deep lineup. I think J.P. Crawford is a great 9-hole slot. He may not be the biggest power hitter, but he does like to get on base, and I think their starters speak for themselves.
J.P. Crawford, I heard he went to Driveline.
He did go to Driveline a few years ago, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say not to bump Max tires or anything, but I agree that Seattle is going to be a tough team to beat come the end of this playoff run, and I think they could easily make their way to the World Series.
Well, that's the piece is we've talked about how the Yankees have to go up against the Red Sox, and then that either of those teams who are probably going to not be able to throw their best starters are going to come out against the Jays and take a while. And you look at who the Mariners have to play. I'm sorry, but Detroit and the Guardians are most likely going to be a joke to the Mariners. And I think the Mariners get to the ALCS pretty quickly, pretty smooth. And I don't see the Yankees, Red Sox, or Jays having that opportunity. And I think that's going to be a key piece to the Mariners' success.
Yeah, I mean, like, I wish I could be more of a contrarian, but I unfortunately have to agree with you guys. I think that the Mariners are they're the best team in the AL, and they're probably the best team in baseball. When you look at the totality of the makeup of the roster, like just 1 through 9, there's just no weak spot in terms of their lineup. Like every single guy that comes up is a threat to get on base, to hit a home run. Especially since the trade deadline when they got rid of guys like Donovan Solano and Ben Williamson. Like once those guys were off the team, like this is it's a tough lineup 1 to 9. It's going to grind starting pitchers down. And speaking of starting pitchers, like the Mariners, their rotation is so good, especially if Brian Wu is able to come back and give them some volume. Hopefully he's back by game 2 or 3 of the divisional series. And if he is, like that is a guy who will go 6 innings almost 100% of the time and hold the other team to under 3 runs. Like that is just so valuable in the playoffs. And I don't know. I mean, I just look at this team and I don't see any glaring weakness that could really kill them. The only thing that I think could take them down is a stretch of bad luck, stretch of bad BABIP luck or something along those lines. But like I'm with you guys. I mean, this team is it's really, really good.
I am not going the Mariners. I think the winner of the World Series is coming out of that Dodgers-Phillies series. I think the Phillies, since Zach Wheeler going down, Christopher Sanchez, Jesus Luzardo, and Ranger Suarez have been a 3-headed monster for the rotation. They grabbed Yohan Duran at the deadline, who has been stellar as their go-to closer, and Schwarber is having a fantastic season mashing the ball. So I think if they get past that loaded Dodgers team, I think they go all the way through Milwaukee or San Diego and through the AL.
We were just on our AL favorites before on that side. I
said World Series.
Oh,
favorite,
I
thought we were all going to run the AL.
I wasn't just pumping the Mariners. I think the Mariners have the easiest path towards the World Series, not necessarily winning it. That being said, though, about the Phillies, who I have been really high on, Ranger Suarez just went day-to-day. They are coming into this bumped and bruised. Mm-hmm. I think Christopher Sanchez is an incredible...
Even with the bye? You think they're coming in more bumped?
I think even with the bye. Because if you look at the Dodgers rotation, yes, they're going to throw Yamamoto, and I imagine they'll throw Tyler Glasnow maybe. That's still probably sets up a Blake Snell to come in and pitch that opening game. I think they have a deep amount of starting pitching that can be used. And I think right now I was looking at the Phillies Wheeler, I believe, is injured.
Mm-hmm.
Nola hasn't been himself. Ranger Suarez just went down. So that leaves Christopher Sanchez to start. And then I'm just going to pull up
Taiwan Walker.
I don't think that's as impressive as a 3-man rotation as they were just a couple of weeks ago.
I agree. I think the Dodgers rotation is a bit more dangerous. Like Yamamoto's had an amazing season. Blake Snell is from Seattle, and then Shohei will probably get a start in the playoffs as well. So I think it's gonna be tough to get hits off of those guys.
And I imagine it will be. I forgot about Jesus Luzardo. He's a guy who's 1.22 WHIP, 216 strikeouts, ERA under 4. I think he's a huge arm that's coming out. That's out of that rotation. Phillies are still super dangerous. The Dodgers are. I think that's probably going to be one of the best series we see.
If we see it. Don't forget about the Reds.
Could be the Reds.
Mm-hmm. If the Reds somehow steal a game on the Dodgers and their rotation gets used a bit more than they want to, do you think the rotation will still be in a good enough shape to face the power bats of the Phillies?
Yeah.
Yes. I think the Phillies are incredible. I think the Dodgers are incredible. The Dodgers have shown time and time and again, there's a reason they're one of the best teams in baseball and seem to always be one of the best teams in baseball.
The other thing, too, is that the wild card series starts on Tuesday, and then the DS starts on Saturday. So if you, like the game 1 starter for the Dodgers in the wild card series could potentially go game 2 in the divisional series. Like the attrition, isn't quite as pronounced as maybe you would think with the bye.
That being said, I do think Phillies or Dodgers are going to be that World Series team. I think they're making it to the World Series almost certainly. We've seen the Dodgers have trouble against the Padres in the past. I think the Dodgers have simply been the better team overall.
It's so tough, though, like playing a team in your division. Nobody knows how to pitch to your guys better than a team in your division, which is why I think the Blue Jays could run into some trouble in the DS. Like, no matter what, they're playing against a team that, they've played against 15 times this season. Like, that's always tough, so.
Very true. What are everyone's World Series matchups? Whether it's Dream World Series matchup, what you want to see, what you think we're going to see.
Dream is probably Blue Jays Reds. Reds having just a miraculous. Imagine the Reds go on that miraculous run. Like that couldn't make anybody like not happy. Like I'm a Cardinals fan, and I would love to see the Cincinnati Reds just come out on top somehow.
Eli, who's your favorite team?
The Cardinals?
I know you've said it 3 times.
It's sad. They were under 500 again.
Oh, no.
Wasted talent. Nolan Arenado is moving on. Anyway, but I think it's going to be a Mariners-Phillies World Series.
Okay.
I think my dream would probably be, the Mariners make it to the World Series. The Reds make it to the World Series, but then all of their pitchers get blisters on their throwing hands and they have to pitch position players. And so it's Mariners versus Reds position players. That would be my dream.
Ellie De La Cruz coming off of the mound would be pretty awesome.
It would be really awesome for the Mariners, yeah. But like what I think will happen, like I said, I think the Mariners are likely to go all the way. And Cam, I'm with you with the winner of the Dodgers and the Phillies. I think that whoever comes out of that series is most likely to make it to the World Series. I don't want to discount the Brewers. Obviously, they had a great regular season. I question the sustainability. I question if they're going to be able to get it done in October, given their track record. And you look at the Dodgers, you look at the Phillies. They've shown time and time again they can get it done, right?
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. It's really hard to tell what the World Series is going to look like with how both number 1 seeds are built. They are built off of consistency. They're built off of all of their position players playing at their top of their abilities. With Milwaukee and Toronto, nobody even knew that both of them were going to be a playoff team or not this season. And it's really hard to determine because if the Blue Jays consistently hit single upon single upon single and get the batters in like they've done all season, they could easily take down anybody in the AL. But I think Seattle and New York are just much more proven at the plate than the Blue Jays are, and I think I'm going to go Yankees over the Mariners in the ALCS, and then as I said before, I think the winner of the Dodgers and the Phillies is going to move past Milwaukee. So I'm going to go Phillies-Yankees final.
Wow. My dream World Series. Okay.
Oh, I didn't say my dream. Yeah, Blue Jays-Reds, 100%.
Everybody wants to face the
Hey,
Reds.
time out. Who's Katie's dream World Series? Her favorite team in the AL and her favorite team in the NL are both in the playoffs.
I don't think they know that. Jays Cubs would be my
Oh,
dream.
Cubs. Huh.
Yeah.
I thought it would be. Is Biggio still on the Dodgers?
No.
Oh, he's
He
gone?
spent most of the season with the Royals.
Oh, okay.
I don't. Where's he
Yeah, as a
now?
The
Bengals-
Guelph Royals.
As a Bengals fan, I'm a quasi-Reds fan, so
Yeah, true.
they post every Cincinnati Reds win on the Instagram, so
True.
I'm forced to be a fan.
He played a whole 37 games with the Royals,
Yeah.
had a negative WAR,
That's quote most of the season.
12 hits.
He played most of the season with the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. Like,
No, they actually won.
yeah.
Anyway, that's my dream World Series. My probable World Series is going to be boring and be Seattle and the Phillies, like basically everyone else said, I think. I do like the Phillies as a team, so I wouldn't be too upset with the Phillies World Series. But like you guys were saying, I think it might be Seattle this time.
It would just be so nice if the Mariners could get it done for Canada, with our current political climate.
Right. Yeah,
Kevin Biggio is currently a Salt Lake B, by the way.
of course. As I've always said, my favorite team, the Salt Lake.
A Salt Lake B's
My dream
Kevin
World
Biggio
Series.
jersey would go incredibly hard, though.
My dream World Series, the Salt Lake Bees defeat the Seattle Mariners.
What about the Alabama White Sauce?
I'm a big Lugnuts fan. I think
Whoa.
it's a great name.
What about the Kelowna Falcons?
Where has this gone? We are lost.
Dream
Well,
World Series
Dream World
Mariners,
Series.
Kelowna Falcons.
Max wins either way.
Yeah, true. I get. Yeah.
Anyway, it's set up to be a great postseason. It's going to be an exciting one for sure.
Always is. And that is all for our MLB Playoff Preview episode. Thank you so much for joining us today. Be sure to subscribe or follow wherever you get your podcasts, and follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Shuttersport Media and on X at ShuttersportM. This has been the Shuttersport Podcast. I'm Katie Leboutillier, joined by Eli Pearl, Cam Stirling, and Max Purdon.
Personally, I want
Seattle
a
Seahawks.
I want a University of Arkansas at Monticello Boll Weevils World Series.
Tennis
World
racket.
Series.
And on that
Tennis
note-
racket.
Tennis racket.
And on that note, you need a tennis racket.
And we will see you in the next one.
Woo!